Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be doing a guide for the Mughals for EU4 1.31 Leviathan. Before we begin, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you enjoy this video. Only 10% of you are subscribed, so it really means a lot. Let's get started. Now for this guide we're going to be starting as the Timurids, as I think they are the best nation to form the Mughals with, and probably the easiest, to be honest. The Timurids do start off as the greatest power in this region with 5 subjects as well: Fars, Coruscant, Transoxiana, Afghanistan and Sistan. But a lot of players might be deterred from playing as the Timurids due to the fact that when your current ruler Shah Rukh dies, all your subjects become disloyal and they will quickly declare an independence war. So the first 10 years playing as the Timurids are the most important, and this guide is going to show you how to get control over your vassals even if Shah Rukh dies, and you will quickly be able to form the Mughals, one of the most powerful nations in EU4, definitely top 3, and it could even set you up for a great world conquest. First, we're going to go into the decisions and take the adopt the title of Khalifa, denouncement of sect practices, and enforce religious unity decisions. Then we're going to enact the lenient taxation ability, which will give us minus 15% liberty desire in subjects and Diplo Rep +1. After that, we're gonna summon the diet, and you can pick the best agenda for you, and we're gonna seize land. We're gonna give the Ulum a clerical advisory council. We're gonna give the emirs increased levies, aristocratic councillors, and strong duchies. We're gonna give the merchant guilds patronage of the arts, commercial advisory board, and we're gonna give the Demi guaranteed religious minority rights. With this, we can also fulfill the mission Timurid leadership. We're also going to take out 1 loan and hire advisors. You should always pick this Diplo Rep guy, and I do think he is always available. If not, you should pick an improved relations guy. And a morale or a discipline guy would be ideal. I have a morale guy. Remember that this is a level 2 half-price diplomatic advisor, and I do think he is always available. After this, we're gonna hire the free company in the province of Ladakh. We're gonna give our air military command, and we are gonna hire 1 more general. And we're gonna put our air in charge of the 10 stack and the general in charge of the 9 stack, and send them on the border of Fars. After this, we're gonna send an alliance to a big nation in India. So anyone out of Jaunpur, Malwa, Sindh, someone like that, you can ally them. I'm gonna ally Jaunpur in my case. We're gonna start building a spy network on Balochistan. And we're gonna start royal marrying all our subjects. So once these 2 diplomats come back, keep royal marrying all your subjects. And we're gonna wait for December 12th so we can recruit our free army and we will be able to declare war. Once your free company recruits, you should also fulfill the mission build to force limit. Once December 12th comes around, we can declare war on Ajam, and by this time you should have royal married all your subjects. Now during this 1-month wait period, sometimes your rivals can try to support your vassals' independence. So if you're worried about that, in my case it didn't happen, but if you're worried about that, don't rival anyone until you've declared your first war against Ajam. And now we're gonna declare war on Ajam. Usually they won't have any strong allies. They might have 1 strong-ish ally like Nogai or the Great Horde or AQ sometimes, but again, it's not a problem. And we're gonna declare a reconquest for the province of Semnan. Make sure to use your own claim. Now we are gonna stay in this war as long as possible. So basically, even when we full siege Ajam, we're still gonna stay in this war at least until 1450, something like that. And until then, you should be getting claims on Balochistan with your spy network and improve relations with all your subjects. You should also set all your subjects to a siege focus and just full siege Ajam and stay in the war for 5 or 6 years. Now if Ajam starts sieging down your vassals, like right here and right here, leave them do it. That's actually a good thing because we do want our subjects to become weaker. And here we go, about 2 years after the game start, Shah Rukh has died in my case. Now in your case it might happen a little earlier, and it might not even happen at all in the first 10 years, or you can just save scum it, to be honest. But he did die in my case, so let's see what will happen. Basically, some of the vassals will become rebellious. And as we can already see, Transoxiana does have high liberty desire, and it's pretty high for the other subjects too, but they're not rebellious yet. Anyway, they can't declare war while we are in a war, so that's why we want to drag out this Ajam war as long as possible. Then we're going to be declaring on Balochistan and dragging that out, and then maybe even declaring on Ladakh and dragging that out, at least until 1454, where we can start integrating vassals. And because we have cores on all of Transoxiana, all of Coruscant, and all of Forest, we will integrate them in only 1 month tick once 1454 rolls around. And we will be growing stronger because we'll take provinces from Ajam and Balochistan and so on. So when Shah Rukh dies, even if your vassals are rebellious, don't worry about it. They can't declare wars if we're in a war. So it's time to continue this war with Ajam. And you can even placate them to get their liberty desire down. I am gonna do that twice. And just like that, they're back to loyal. Transoxiana is getting pummeled by Ajam. That's a great thing actually. Now once you have 100%ed Ajam, and it's at least 1448, in my case it's 1449, before we peace out Ajam, we're going to be declaring on Balochistan. Now this is very important, before we peace out Ajam. So we're going to declare war on Balochistan. Usually they won't have strong allies, maybe one in India and 1 or 2 over here. In my case they're allied to Hassa and Mahra, which is not a problem. We're going to be declaring on them on one of the claims that we have made so far. And we're going to wait for 5 days so we can piece Ajam out. And we're going to take these provinces from Ajam. So these 4 right here, their entire vassal of Luristan, these 2 right here, and these 3 right here. We're going to leave Ajam with these 4 provinces, and we're going to leave them with Ardalan, their vassal. And we're going to take some ducats. And just like that, we've grown by quite a bit, and we can unlock the mission Expand the Timurids, which we will do. After this, you can concentrate development from some of these before turning them into full states, since you do have cores on them. Now, while we're fighting Balochistan, we're gonna be building a spy network on Ladakh right here, or Kashmir, depending on which nation you border. And we're gonna stay in this war if we can until 1454. If not, we're gonna be declaring on Ladakh. So same procedure as Ajam, siege down Balochistan and stay in the war. When you do unlock Diplotech 4, of course you should start building marketplaces in all the center of trade provinces, like your capital Herat, for example, and Mashhad as well. Now once you get +1 stability from an event or something, and you can stab up the second time, or you can stab up 2 times, or you can even get 2 stab from events, you will unlock the mission Stabilize the Timurids, which requires you to have 2 stability. Now this gives you claims on some areas that are vassal zone anyway, but it will enable us to push down the mission tree even further. As you can see by now, I've fully occupied Balochistan, but I am gonna stay in this war for like 2 more years. Now once it's around 1452, we're gonna send our troops to the border of Ladakh, and we're gonna get ready to declare on them and peace out Balochistan. And now we're gonna declare war on Ladakh before piecing out Balochistan. So declare on them with the claim you've made. They almost never have strong allies, and very often they don't have any allies at all. And we're gonna peace out Balochistan, taking this entire coastal state that they have, as well as all their money and war reps. Of course, we are gonna concentrate development before making these into cores. And now we're gonna fight Ladakh and stay in this war until November 1454. At this point, you should also start allying, royal marrying, and improving relations with Najd right here, so we can make them our vassal, and more importantly, so that we can invite the Hanbali Scholar, which gives us -10% aggressive expansion impact. Now that it's November 1454, we can finally be at peace after 10 years of constant wars. And of course, we're gonna peace out Ladakh, full annexing them and taking all their money. And now we are at peace. Now what we are going to do is we're going to recall all our diplomats so we can have them all back home. Now once all 3 of these diplomats are back, we're going to start improving relations up to 190 with Transoxiana, Coruscant, and Fars. So that's what I'm going to do. And now it's time to chill and have all of them go up to 190. You can send some gifts if you want to speed this process up. Now once we have above 190 relations with these 3 countries, as you can see I do, we're going to recall all our diplomats back. And once all 3 of our diplomats are back, we are going to annex all 3 of these vassals at the same time. And there we go. As you can see, it already says 100%. That's because we have cores on all of them. That's why it was important to not feed them anything, and we didn't even need to feed them anything because we had cores on a jump. And now we'll just wait for a month to tick. And just like that, we have integrated all 3 of these nations. And now there's no need to worry about independent vassals, there's no need to worry about rebellions, and you've basically tripled in size in 10 years by conquering and by integrating all of these subjects. This will probably fulfill some missions like control Lower Persia, control Eastern Steppes, take Western Steppes, and Indian Raid. And just like that, we're a number 3 great power. Now, I don't recommend concentrating development from these areas that we've taken from our vassals because we are going to be full stating all of them anyway. You can actually concentrate development up until you get 30 dev in Herat. Now it's time to organize our armies and get ready to declare on Delhi. So now that we've finished those initial first wars in the first 10 years and we have some free diplomatic relations slots, we are going to be looking for an ally or 2. And by this time, of course, you should have allied Najd, and we're gonna try and find another ally in India because we're gonna be expanding over there. So we're gonna ally some other big nation, not in this initial expansion region though, and not over here. So based on that, it seems like Mewar is the best option for an alliance, and that's what we are gonna do. In your case, you could ally Gujarat or someone larger like that, but not over here and over here, directly next to your borders. And since we do have claims on this area right here, we're going to be getting ready to declare war over here. Now, in my case, Delhi is pretty big, but 80% of the time, this won't happen since Sirhind usually wins against Delhi, and there's a few smaller nations that you can chip away at over here. But in my case, Delhi is pretty big. Either way, we're going to be expanding here. And you should be able to invite the Hanbali Scholar, which will give you minus 10% aggressive expansion impact. This is also around the time where you should be getting enough reform progress to unlock your tier 2 reform, and I recommend going for the Strengthen Noble Privileges reform. At this point, we also have the Registan Square Monument in Samarkand. Of course, we do have the Buddha statues in Bamyan, but we don't get any bonuses from them since we are not one of the Buddhist religions. So this monument isn't relevant to us. Registan Square is though. Starting off at tier 1, it gives us minus 10% stab cost and monthly piety plus 0.1. At level 3, we get war score cost versus other religions minus 15%. Not too strong, but we will definitely be upgrading it when we have some extra money, although it won't be a primary focus. Once your army is into position, it's time to declare on whichever nation is right here. So usually it's Sirhind or Delhi or maybe even Multan or Kashmir. And like I said previously, usually they will be a lot smaller than Delhi is in my case. So this should be an easy war for you. And you can call in your allies over here in India. In my case, Jaunpur is already at war with Delhi, so I'm gonna call in Mewar with the promise of land, just so the war is a little bit easier since Delhi does have Bengal as an ally. Either way, this is going to be another easy war. Now, once you do have enough war score to take around 3 to 5 provinces, we're going to be piecing out basically because you do get a lot of aggressive expansion from the provinces here since they are pretty high development. Now, it's very important to take the province of Shorkot because it's a farmland and it produces cloth, which means it's around 15% cheaper to dev here. And this is where we're going to be spawning the Renaissance. So these are the 4 provinces that I'm going to take. I do have claims on all of them, and it's not too much aggressive expansion. We want to keep it below 50. So I'm going to take these and nothing else because I do want to keep this truce as short as possible. So these are the 4 provinces that I'm going to take. And now it's time to chill for a few years, have the Renaissance, and start a war over here or over here. While we're chilling after this war, you should start building a spy network on some nations over here like QQ, Mushasha, and some of these smaller guys over here. I'm gonna start building one on QQ since they are losing to the Mamluks right now, and we do want to cut them down to size as soon as possible. Once you hit Admin Tech 5 and it's time to pick our first idea group, I recommend taking Administrative Ideas. Now, since we are the Timurids and we're gonna become the Mamluks, we do need the core creation cost minus 25%, the admin tech cost minus 10%, and very importantly, governing capacity plus 25%. The advisors and the merc stuff are pretty good too, and I think this is the best opener to set you up for a potential world conquest too. So we are gonna take admin ideas. And of course, we are gonna focus on admin. Once you finish coring these provinces, we are of course going to make this into a state and enable the Encourage Development State Edict. And by now we should have a pretty decent dev cost discount. As you can see from the start, it only costs around 30 points. And we are going to start deving up this province in military points and in diplomatic points. And just keep pushing the Renaissance. Now that a little bit of time has passed, it's time to declare on some nation over here. And I do recommend declaring on QQ because we don't want to let them get too strong, so we're going to be taking some provinces from them. And like I said, you should have built up a spy network on them by now. As you can see, I have 2 claims on them. And they're in a war with the Mamluks, so it is a good time to declare. You don't need any allies for this war. You should be very powerful by now. Now, once you do have enough war score against QQ, which should be around 80 to 100%, here is what we are gonna take in the peace deal. So I'm gonna take these 6 provinces right here, and I'm gonna take all their money. Now, in your case, QQ might not look like this, but the most important thing that we need to do in this war is take at least one province that Iraq has a core on, so we can release them. So I'm taking this province, which Iraq has a core on, and these 5 other provinces right here. You can take whatever you want, but like I said, you want at least one province that Iraq has a core on it. So this is going to be my peace deal. And there we go, we took that land from QQ. Of course, I am going to be concentrating development a bit, and I'm going to be releasing Iraq. And there we go, now they are our vassal, and as you can see, they have cores on these provinces over here. So Iraq is a very good vassal, and they have cores on these 10 provinces right here, which will make for a great reconquest war against QQ later. Now it's time to chill for a year and get ready to finish off Ajam finally, now that our truce with them is up. And now it's time to declare on Ajam once again to wipe them out. Maybe Ajam are already gone in your case. Either way, we're gonna be taking back our final cores right here. And now that I've 100%ed Ajam, I'm gonna take back my cores, these 4 provinces here, and I'm gonna take these 2 provinces as well, effectively full annexing them. I'm not gonna take their vassal Ardalan because AE is too high, and in your case, if aggressive expansion is also high, you don't have to take any additional provinces that they might have, or you might be even fighting a different nation. Either way, you want your cores back, and that's what we're gonna do. And that should also fulfill the mission Control Upper Persia, which will give us 100 admin power and land attrition minus 20% for 15 years. Now it's time to let aggressive expansion die down for these provinces, and we're gonna start annexing one of these 2 vassals, Sistan or Afghanistan, before getting ready for a second war against Delhi, or maybe it's not even Delhi in your case, it might be a different nation. Either way, we're gonna take these claims. For your first age ability, I recommend taking the Justified Wars ability because we do need to reduce aggressive expansion as much as we can. Now, because I still haven't fulfilled the Prepare for War mission, which has these requirements, I'm just gonna hire a merc stack that will get me over my force limit so I can fulfill this mission, and then I'm gonna delete the merc stack so we can advance down the mission tree. And as you can see, we only have 4 more missions to complete before we complete the Timurid mission tree, and we'll be set on forming the Mughals. The community generally says that you should complete Timurid missions before forming the Mughals, so that's what I am going to do. Now it's time to once again declare on whichever nation is right here and take these provinces that we have claims on. Once you basically fully occupy Delhi, we are gonna take only these 3 provinces that we have claims on. Well, we do have a claim on Sirhind too, but it would be way too much AE and way too costly in admin points, so we are gonna take only these 3 provinces. In my case, in your case, you might be taking a bit more since you might be fighting some different smaller nations over here. And now I did threaten Multan with war so they could give me this province right here, which means I can fulfill the mission Conquer Punjab, which will give me manpower recovery speed, shock damage, and claims on these 2 areas right here. And now we finally have a claim on Delhi, and once we do conquer it, we are finally ready to form the Mughals. And we will do that as soon as our truce with Delhi runs out. Now in your case, Delhi might be held by someone you don't have a truce with, so you can go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, I'm gonna wait for aggressive expansion to die down a little bit before declaring war on some nations over here. Around this time, you should also start annexing Sistan so we can complete the mission Control West Khorasan. For your 3rd government reform, you should of course take the centralized bureaucracy bureaucracy one, which gives us monthly autonomy change. Of course, we don't want the max promoted cultures one because as the Mughals, there is no need to promote cultures. By now, we also have a third monument, the Harmandir Sahib, but we can't take advantage of it because we need to be in the Dharmic religion group, basically Hindu. And while you're waiting to go to war with the big guys, you can start cleaning up some of the smaller nations over here. For example, I'm gonna be declaring on Biapas now. Once the Hanbali Scholars modifier expires, you should take it again. You might have even vassalized Najd by now. I haven't done it for some reason yet, but you definitely should. Now that our truce with QQ is up, it's time to declare on them and take back Iraq's cores. Of course, if QQ don't exist, you're gonna be declaring on whichever nation has Iraq's cores. Once you do finally integrate Sistan after integrating Afghanistan, we can unlock the Control East Khorasan mission and the Control West Khorasan mission, which gives us minus 20% CCR for 15 years and 100 admin power, which is an excellent modifier to have. Now, once you've basically 100%ed QQ, we are gonna give back all the cores they have to Iraq. So those would be these provinces right here. And we're gonna take the province of Rabah for ourselves, as well as one more province and some ducats. After all, that is everything we can get for this war score. Now, not only was giving back the cores to Iraq important, but it was also very important to get the province of Rabah right here, because we are gonna be releasing Syria. And there we go, I just released Syria, and as you can see, this was very important because Syria has a ton of cores right here. 12 cores in total along with the one they already have. So this is another excellent vassal that can be used to reconquest this area where there is a lot of provinces with pretty high development. And Iraq has one more core on Hisn Kaifa too. Now it's time to reorganize and wait for the final 2 years for a truce with Delhi to be up and we can finally take Delhi. Of course, once you get to Admin Tech 6, you should start building workshops in all the high value trade good provinces like paper, cloth, silk, gems, dyes, copper, and so on. And there is an abundance of those provinces in Persia and in India. We are already swimming in ducats at this point, and once you get workshops, it'll get even better. And as soon as our truce with Delhi is up, or whoever controls Delhi in your case, it's time to declare on them and finally take the last province that we need in order to form the Mughals. So that's what I am gonna do. I'm gonna declare for Delhi, and I am gonna call in Jaunpur just so I can deal with Delhi's allies like Bengal and Sindh quicker. And this is the last war before we form the Mughals. And now that I do have enough war score against Delhi, I am going to be taking the province of Delhi as well as some additional provinces right here, not too much AE, and I'm going to be piecing out. Now we just need to core Delhi and we can finally form the Mughals. Now that our core on Delhi is finished, it's time to state it and we can finally form the Mughals. Of course, we will take new traditions and ambitions, and we do get new government reforms, the Indian Sultanate Tier 1 reform, the most overpowered government reform in the game, the Mughal Diwan system, and at Tier 3 we get the Mansab Dari system. And here's all the bonuses we get from assimilated culture groups. Of course, as you know, once you conquer all the provinces in a certain culture group as the Mughals, you get some crazy bonuses. And we get the OP Mughal ideas, such as cavalry combat ability plus 20% and core creation cost minus 25% as traditions and minus 5% tech cost as an ambition, discipline, national unrest, idea cost, free military policies, tax, prestige, and stab cost. And we also get the amazing Mughal mission tree with some OP missions that give us claims on a ton of land. And as you can see, we already have claims on most of northern India. Now, one thing that's very important to do at this point, since our capital did move to Delhi, our main trade node became Doab. Now, you don't want to have Doab as your main trade node. In fact, we are going to be moving our trade capital back to Persia, and we can just move it to Herat right here. and we will be making much more ducats this way. Eventually you will want to move it along over to Constantinople, and depending on how far you conquer, maybe even Genoa or the English Channel if you're going for a world conquest. Now at this point the world is your oyster, and as the Mughals you have expansion opportunities in 6 different directions. You can go into India, you can go into Tibet, you can go into the hordes, you can go into Caucasia and later Russia, you can go to Anatolia, and you can go to Arabia and Egypt. And basically what you will be doing is fighting in each of these directions in turn. So we just had a war in India, so my next wars would probably be in Arabia, then maybe in Caucasia, then the hordes, then over here, then in Tibet, and basically you want to expand in every direction possible. You should focus on conquering the Hindustani culture group as soon as you can, because we will get minus 10% core creation cost from it, and these are all the other culture groups which we have provinces in, and of course here are the bonuses we get from them when we will own all of the provinces. Of course you don't need to worry about culture, and you can kick off your mission tree to get even more and more claims. The Mughals have one of the best mission trees in the game. For your next government reforms, of course you should pick this one, the governmental Purbias register, followed by royal decree, l'état c'est moi, and political absolutism. Now something you do need to watch out for is governing capacity. That's why you're going to utilize a lot of vassals. As you can see at this point you should have 3 to 5 vassals. I have 4 right now, and you should use them for reconquest and for them to hold land for you until you get governing capacity up. For your second idea group, I recommend taking influence ideas, as it will help you with the vassals out a lot, and the unjustified demands one is great too. For your third idea group, you should pick humanist or religious. I prefer religious myself, as I think it offers greater stability and bonuses in the long run, but you can pick humanist if you want to as well. So religious or humanist for your third, and for your fourth idea group you're gonna pick diplomatic ideas. After that you can pick some military ideas, but really it's your choice. I would recommend going for quality, quantity, and offensive. And by the 1480s, basically in around 40 years, maybe you were slower or faster than me by about 10 years, but your game should look a little something like this. Basically we have increased in size almost 4 to 5 times, and this is our realm. We are right here, we have some subjects right here, and we will be getting subjects in India as well. Make sure to expand in all different directions, and you can achieve a world conquest as the Mughals extremely easily. If you haven't done it so far, I do recommend going for one. As the Mughals, you can also get the Sweet Home Karakorum achievement, which requires you to assimilate the Mongolian culture, and it's a pretty fun achievement to do, to be honest. Let me know in the comments below what's the next nation that I should do a guide on. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like and subscribe. Only 10% of you are subscribed, so it would really mean a lot. And I've also launched channel memberships, so if you want to support the channel with more than subscribing, you can check out the join button down below and join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.